Hey, party people, it's Julia, and you have been seeing me post about a very special event that's coming up, an event that's specifically designed for families of those who are struggling with loved ones in addiction. And so I wanted to come on here and I grabbed the host of that event and said, hey, let's talk to the people. Let's connect heart to heart so that people can understand what it is that you're doing, why you're doing it, and how people can get involved. So, coming to the stage, please put your hands together for John Rokochy. Woo! I mean, that's what they would do. That's what they were doing if we had a
That's an
live studio
amazing
audience.
intro. Thank you, Julia. So much
Oh,
fun to be here with you.
I'm so glad that you're here. So, John, we're going to get right into it. Okay. So, the people have been seeing some of the posts that I've done and sharing about this and what my connection is. But let's just kind of go back to the beginning, if you will. Who are you and why are you doing this? We're going to start with that and then we'll dive into some more into some other questions. So, John, introduce yourself to the peoples and tell us why are you doing a summit for families with loved ones in addiction?
This matters to me because there's been addiction in my family. I understand addiction myself. I've worked in inpatient and outpatient addiction treatment. I've been doing this work for over 20 years in one form or another. And one of the biggest reasons is when I was working in inpatient addiction treatment, we would talk a lot about addiction as a family disease. It affects everybody in the family. In order for a family to recover from addiction, it doesn't work just to send an addicted person away to get help. That's what a lot of families think. You've got the problem, will you just go and get some help? And go for a month, go for a couple of months, come back and everything's going to be just fine. What we know is that doesn't work. And anybody who knows addiction, have been around this world for a long time, doing this, dealing with it, if it's in your family, you know it's just not that simple. Addiction doesn't just impact the addicted person. It can't help but impact everybody. So if we want to recover from addiction, and it's not just the addicted person struggling with addiction who gets to recover, it's everybody who gets to recover from the effects of addiction. So if we want recovery to be in our family and to last, we want lasting recovery, life-changing, family-changing recovery, every one of us gets to be involved. Parents, spouse, kids, everybody gets to be a part of this because everybody's been impacted by addiction in some way. So in all of my time working with people and families dealing with addiction, what I found works to create lasting change is that the more people that get involved, the better the outcomes are going to be. So, and I've done the work where I work just with the person dealing with addiction and nobody else is involved. And they've got such a harder slog to
Yeah.
create traction and go ahead. So that's why
Yeah.
this matters to me.
Yeah, I love what you say. It's not a vacuum, right? And sometimes it's treated as if it's a vacuum. You're the problem. Go fix yourself, and then we can enter you back into this. When really there are characteristics in the family dynamic that need to be addressed. And I'm about to use a comparison, and I'm not comparing these people to dogs, but it just reminded me one of my favorite things to watch used to be Caesar Milan, the dog whisperer.
Mhm.
And so I was going because I wanted to see Caesar do his work. But what Caesar really did, he didn't do so much with the dog. He really talked to the family and he was like, yeah, I really do. He's called the dog whisperer, but it's like, but I'm really the family whisperer because the owner whisperer, because it's in the energy and the presentation of the owner. And so I love what you're saying about the ecosystem and the environment
Yeah.
that and that the loved one in addiction is has, and how that can be amplified and how that can be changed to support them. So just gonna throw this skeptical question out there, right? But it's like, but John, like they're the ones who need changing. Like
Mm.
I don't have the habit. So what is going to be at this summit for that person who's like, why should I go and listen to these people talk about this when the truth of the matter is they're the one with the problem? Why should I even do that? How would you address that
Yeah.
sentiment for folks?
Yeah, great question. So to that person, I would say, let's look at how is this affecting you? Let's look at how are you sleeping at night? let's think about how much headspace is this taking up in your life. Where are they? What are they doing? Why are they doing this? I'm so mad at them. Don't they love us? Don't they love their kids? How can they do this to us? How is it impacting you? So I would just invite that person to think, how is this impacting you? Your emotions, your physical health, and quite often it's impacting us in ways that we don't even fully realize. When there's distrust in a relationship, you say one thing, but you do the opposite. I just don't know if I believe you. That impacts your marriage. So I would get the person to think about physically, spiritually, how is this impacting you? How is this impacting your relationship with God? Is it causing you to question, causing you to doubt? So I would invite that person to look at all areas of their life. It is impacting you, whether you know
Yep.
it or not. And that's
Yep.
really the focus of this event. It's all about loved ones
Yep.
to help you get your life back so that you can sleep better, save more money. How many people I've talked to that say, I'm tired of paying for this and paying for that. And I love, inviting them to think about, well, nobody's making you pay for these things or do these things or drive them or cover for them or fill in the gaps and double parent if you're married to this person and they're not able to pull their weight, if you will, with the children in the house. We fill in those gaps out of obligation. We feel like, well, nobody else is doing this, so I have to. We can do things out of I need to, I have to, rather than
Mhm.
I get to.
Yeah, yeah. That's so good. And I'm glad you answered in that, I told you I was like, yeah, we'll see what happens, what comes up. Because I'm just trying to get into the mind of folks who are like, "Ah, here's yet another one. I don't know if I have the mental energy. I don't know if I have the capacity." So what can people expect from the summit? So tell folks about the details, right? The who, what, when, and where, and what people can expect.
What you can expect from this summit is to get inspired. What you can expect is to be encouraged to keep going. What you can expect is to hear stories from some incredible speakers, just like Miss Julia, who share wisdom, people who've been there and done that, and who know what works and what doesn't work when getting out of the cycle of addiction.
Yeah.
What you can expect is to hear stories of people who've actually lived an addicted life themselves and now are living in freedom, and they're going to share, what worked. And what I love to hear, I've got a few people that are going to be there sharing, who were once addicted and are now living in freedom. What I love to ask them, what are, thinking about, what do the loved ones want to know? What do you want to know? One of my favorite questions is, what did your parents do to help that was helpful, and what did they do that was not helpful to help you come out of it? What did your spouse do? What did your friends do? Because there's lots of things that we do that just does not support people. So we get to
Yeah.
learn from these amazing speakers' experiences. So the biggest thing you're going to get is you're going to get renewed inspiration that it is possible for you and your family to get free.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I love that. It is possible. And I'm going to be talking about prayer. And this is not necessarily a Christian event. It's not a Christian event, but it's not necessarily billed as a Christian event. So for people who so what why did you invite me to talk about prayer, right? Because the people who know me they know what I talk about, but why did you invite someone who in this not necessarily a Christian event to talk about prayer in a summit that supports the loved ones of addicted people?
So I invited you for so many reasons. There's a bunch. I've been following you for quite some time. Loved you and who you are, just who you are as a woman. And my wife bought your book about prayer. So I've been hearing about Julia. Her sister has read so I've been hearing about Julia and this book for quite a number of from different people. And I've also heard you speak on this in many different areas, in different places. So love who you are. And specifically why I wanted you to come and speak about prayer is because you're right. This is not a Christian event, but there's a lot of Christians who are in my private family groups who want this. how do I pray for my kid? What's appropriate? How do I pray for my spouse? But I don't want to pray begging prayers. I don't want to pray manipulative prayers. I don't want to pray, I want to pray
Bargaining prayers.
bargaining. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah, I'll
yeah,
do anything. Just please do this.
yeah.
So I would love you. I'm so excited. So when you said yes, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is
Yes,
amazing. I can't believe
yes.
this aligns for both of us because
It does. It
we're going to be
absolutely does. And when we first spoke about it, I said, "Hey, let's talk," because I said my perspective, my angle that I'm coming from from is it's not going to be a begging angle, right? Like I get it. It is so hard.
Mhm.
And the temptation in our prayer time is to be like, Jesus, just like, hey, you loved one, go get yourself fixed. I can't do it. You need to work on yourself. It is so easy in our prayer for them to be like, Jesus, fix them, deliver them.
Mhm.
And that's it. Like that's the only thing that we focus on. But I
Yeah.
love what you said about creating an ecosystem of support in the family because we can also create that ecosystem with prayer and having and inviting God into a place in our heart that's actually broken, that's actually like no, because the scripture says that he is near the brokenhearted. And when you see your loved one struggling, it breaks your heart. And what do you do with that broken heart? Who do you give that over to?
Mhm.
And that's some of the things that we're going to be talking about, right? It's not going to be God, please, please, please. We're not going to do, what I call the James Brown prayers, right? Like, please, please, right? It's going to be, it's I'm going to challenge you in the summit and for the summit participants, I'm going to challenge you to think about how can you shift so that peace is your foundation
Mm.
and surrender is your posture.
Love that.
How can you shift so that peace is your foundation and surrender is your posture? When everything in you, maybe your habits and all this stuff is like, oh no, but, and here's the latest, and oh my gosh, can you believe this happened? But it's like, how can you shift your heart so
Mhm.
that peace is your
Mhm.
foundation and surrender is your posture? And what would God say to you when it comes to praying that way? So I'm going to give some tips. I'm going to give some practical. I'm going to get some practical tips on what to do, and I want you to be there. Hang on, it's not scrolling. So we're going to have this. So register for. So now, John, tell the folks when the summit is, what time it starts. The link to register is right there. It's scrolling across the screen. You can just head on over to familyrecoverysummit.com /Julia Winston and to register and into your information and get all the details. So go ahead and share a little bit more about the day, about what they can expect. Is there some is how long they will have access? Go ahead and share about that, Ron.
Absolutely. So March 18th, Monday, March 18th, 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time to 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So it's going to be 3 hours of back-to-back interviews. So I've got 8 incredible speakers lined up, about 20 minutes each interview, and we're just going to go straight from one into the next. So it's a live event. On the day on March 18th. So we highly encourage you to attend live so you can ask questions. We're gonna have times if you want to ask the speakers questions. Again, these are some incredible, powerful speakers that you have access to on the day. Put your questions in the chat. And if you want access to whenever I do one of these events, I always like to put in a VIP upgrade option for you because I know people that are attending are going to be in a variety of different situations. Some of you are in crisis right now, and some of you are going to need intervention, more specific help in the moment. So put a VIP package together that gets you a one-on-one call with myself, lifetime access to the trainings. And we're going to offer a boundaries masterclass the next day, all in 19th, that you get as well. So March 18th, Family Recovery Summit / Julia Winston to sign up. Would love to see you there.
Yes, we want to see you there. We want to see you there so that we are about what John and I have in common, even though we're in very different worlds, what we do have in common. I was like, John, I don't have a background in psychology or counseling or recovery or, any of that stuff. And he was like, oh, no, 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 I want you on for prayer. I was like, oh, well, then I got you. Like, that I can do. I know my lane. And because one of the things, even though we're in different industries and different lanes, one of the things that we're both in, and we're both about empowerment. And at Brave, one of the things I say empowerment is authority ignited from within. And that's what you're going to
Mhm.
get at this summit. I love what you say. It's a freedom from addiction, like freedom in addiction. Like, hey, there's freedom here. And the freedom starts with you. It does not start with your addicted loved one getting sober. It starts with you. And that's what we have in common. And that's the power that's going to bring there. So, Lori, yes, this is an online event. It's a virtual summit. And there is opportunity. So, question from Lori around, is the recording available?
Is the recording available? Good question, Lori. So recordings are available for those who upgrade to VIP. So it's a heck of a deal, $47, lifetime access to those, one-on-one call, and then access to an additional 3-hour boundary setting masterclass.
Boom. And you're going to, listen, you already know it's worth it. So go ahead and register. So any last words? Thank you so much, John, for hopping on real quick so we can talk about this, because the people want to know, like, there's something to post about it, but I just wanted for them to meet you as the host. There are plenty other speakers, and their names that you don't know, but you don't necessarily need to know their names. And this is what I'm going to share with you guys. Like, when you attend this listening for freedom, no matter who it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You don't have to know their name to be like, oh, I know freedom when I hear it. There it is. It's like, I don't see my dad, but my dad was Aqua. So if I'm walking around and I smell Old Spice, that's not my dad. If I'm walking around and I smell CK1, anybody remember CK1? Anyway, I'm dating myself here. That's not my dad. My dad wears Aqua Velva. So if I'm walking around and even if I don't see my dad, but I smell Aqua Velva, I know his essence is there. And so that's what I want you to do. Listen to the speakers for the essence of truth, where freedom is actually being
Mm-hmm.
unleashed so that you can receive what it is that you need. So anyway, there's the information. Thank you, John,
Thank you, Julia.
for
It's
the
been a
chat.
pleasure.
I
Cannot
look
wait
forward.
for our interview on Monday.
It's going to be good. All right, y'all, go register at family recoverysummit.com/Julia and check out John and all the amazing speakers that are going to be there. We will see you there. Bye now.